Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our weekly community catch-up here with Waystone Games. My name is Andy Belford. I'm the community manager for Dawngate, and joining me today is Daniel Dibbs Gibson, or Daniel.
Both
Daniel
fine.
seems so formal.
I know. No one calls me that.
He is our lead shaper designer here on the team, though, and we got an exciting show planned for everybody. Yeah? Would you say?
Oh, yes.
Would you say
this
it's
is
exciting?
this is a good one for sure.
This is a good one. This is a good one. We got not only a new shaper reveal, but actually an exciting announcement for the community too.
Yep.
So we're going to forego our regular do our rounds of Reddit thing and stuff like that because we have so much stuff to cover right now that I really just want to dive into the meat of it all. So. Hello, everybody out there in Chatland. We see you over here. We also have, of course, we have you as our special guest today, but we also have
a more special guest.
Another special guest, I would say, equally special in his own special ways, and he's actually going to help us do our community announcement first because you know what, we don't want to keep you guys waiting, all the way through the stream. We're gonna do the announcement first, but before we do that, I do want to go ahead and do a really quick thing. We are going to be giving away beta keys in the stream today. You do need to be following the channel in order to win one. We do them randomly and silently so kind of like your uncle at Thanksgiving, randomly and silently. Never mind. See what I did there?
Good. I like it.
This fart humor. Anyways, we give away keys randomly and silently on Wednesdays. So please hit that follow button. If you don't follow the channel, we select your name, you will not be able to win a key. So please don't. We don't want you to have a sad.
That would be sad.
We don't want to have a sad.
No.
That would be sad. It would be kind of sad. So anyways, yes, the blue light is activated. Whoever did that, thank you very much. Also, don't forget, just because we're not checking out the Reddit today, go subscribe to the Dawngate subreddit /r/Dawngate. Follow us on Twitter at the Dawngate. Like us on Facebook, the Dawngate. And follow our channel here. So, all right. So, our big announcement.
All right, go for it.
I'm going to go ahead and bring our special guest on, who should go ahead and unmute his mic, like my subtle transition there. So here we go. Welcome everybody to the live stream. The one and only Randy Twerp78 Green.
There he is. Hey guys, how's it going?
How's everybody doing out there?
Hello, Internet.
Indeed. So Randy is one of the co-hosts of the Money Pigs podcast. He and Best Dibs NA. By the way, where's Baby Cat today? Is he?
I believe he is at a fellow Donger's house, Mr. Wheels, and they are watching right now. Shout out to my boy Baby Cat, Best Dibs NA.
Are they in the chat? I haven't seen Best Dibs NA pop up yet in the chat. I'm just
looking. No, I think he's on Bobby Big Wheel 69. I think they're over at his place.
They're over. Okay, awesome. So, we have sorry, I'm getting link messages now. It's great. So we have Randy on the show. Like I said, Randy is one of the co-hosts of the Money Pig podcast. He, RL John, and Baby Cat, Best Dibs NA. Also, Randy and Best Dibs NA have put this little thing together. They've been running for the last 5 weeks now.
Yeah, it's a bi-weekly tournament that we run, but we've done it 5 times.
5 times. So 5 times it's called the Battle in the Bot Lane. So Randy, could you tell us a little bit about the Battle in the Bot Lane?
Well, the idea behind Battle in the Bot Lane was we wanted to do a tournament, but with the lack of a spectator mode, it kind of made it hard because we wanted to be able to stream the tournament and show people a lot of the high-end competitive play in Dawngate. And So what Best Dibs and Aid ended up doing was he said, let's do a 2v2 tournament where we can cast the games and we'll be able to occupy some of the other slots in the game without actually playing, and we can kind of watch and do some shoutcasting for the tournament. And so that's kind of how Battle in the Bot Lane was born.
Okay, give me a second here. I need to tell our new marketing manager, our new marketing director, that I'm actually on stream right now.
Stop that.
So we don't keep hearing the doon in the background. So I'm sure you guys all love that. Anyways, so yes, and by the way, that is not an attic. Eventually, actually, Grumpy Cat will descend from the light.
Right, the skylight. He's there.
So
it is a skylight, yes.
It's a skylight, yes. So anyways, so you guys have been running this for about 10 weeks now. You've done 5 events. And you're right. It's something that kind of scratches that competitive itch, right? That a lot of our players have had. Have you had a chance to catch any of the tournaments?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I would say I actually was fortunate enough enough, BDNA and Randy let me sit in and kind of guest shoutcast last week. I found it to be a really fun experience. I really enjoyed it. And here's the thing: is that we know here at Waystone, we've always said that for us, esports is something that's going to have to come from the community, and that if the community shows us that they want it, we're going to be here to support it in whatever way we can. So right now, what I can say is this: is that we're working on a lot of features internally right now, right? And not necessarily all those features are like esports related, but we're still seeing this really fun thing that's the community is participating in and joining in on and having fun. Created all by you guys, and we want to help kind of foster that environment. We want for the players to have this outlet for the competitive scene as well, and we're going to do everything that we can to support that. And so the first step for us to do that is to announce this actually. Starting this week, this Friday, the Battle in the Bot Lane tournament is going to be hosted live here on the Waystone Games channel. Every week we are going to have a guest color commentator basically from the Waystone Games team. So starting off, it's going to be myself, and then Pluto, and then Scott Zyrilla C. Moore is going to be rotating in. So we'll be providing some color commentary during the shoutcasting. I think I learned a valuable lesson last week, by the way, Randy. You're the action man. Like play by play. BDNA and I just need to shut up. We just need to shut up. And let you get the hype going, man.
It's true.
I'm pretty good at talking fast and loud, so the high impact moments, like a lot of stuff going on.
Absolutely.
That's my wheelhouse.
So we're going to be broadcasting it live here on the channel. So can you tell the folks at home what time it starts at and about how long it usually runs?
Yes, the tournament currently runs on Fridays. We do it at 8:30 Eastern time, which is 5:30 West Coast. Right. Okay. Yes, and it usually the format of the tournament is this: it's a 2v2 in the bot lane, and what it is the win conditions are first to 2 kills, first to 100 CS, or first to a binding destruction. So any one of those goals end the game. What happens is for the quarterfinals and all the early prelims, it's just best of 1. When we get to the semifinals, it is a best of 3, and we cast all of the semifinals and the finals, and also the finals is best of 5. So, but those are the win conditions for it. Each game usually runs about 10 minutes, so it's a little bit faster than your regular Dawn Gate 5-on-5 match. But it's really fun. There's a lot of fast-paced action. There's a lot of stuff, like a lot of great plays getting made. I mean, I've been impressed every single week that I've done it with the kind of comps people bring to it and some of the team fights that end up happening. It's actually way more fun and exciting than I expected when I first started doing it. So.
Yep. And, I know that this isn't directly gameplay related, but I think this is exciting because it is, in its own way, when we're celebrating the fact that this is a community created event, it's kind of ingenuity, the motherhood of invention is necessity, right? And we need this, the community needs this outlet to have this competitive showcase. And really, last week, for me was a really great example of, some of the best players in the game just coming together for this, and really just showing these really cool bite-sized kind of I call it bite-sized, but that, like I said, it's about 10 minutes. I mean, it is it's great. It's really fun. Also, got this little thing to show off right here.
Oh yeah!
Boom! Look at that.
I think it's cool.
It is the Battle in the Bot Lane. We actually whipped up a little banner for this to support this as well. So this is it's gonna be fun. And you may notice you see the little Logitech G thing. That is because my friend Charles over at Logitech has generously offered up prize support for this event. So first place each week, both the winners on the winning team will receive a Logitech G602 mouse. So
nice.
For each event, I should say.
And they're snazzy.
They are snazzy. So this
Get
is
hyphy.
Get hyphy indeed. This is the mouse. It's a wireless gaming mouse, and the winners will receive the top 2 will receive this. So. Could you, so Pluto, could you put the registration link up in the chat for me? If you can find it real quick. So it is brought to you by the guys over at MOBA Champion. Logitech G and Waystone Games, right? So we're doing everything we can to support this. I would say, this is kind of like a first step for us. We would love to be to be able to eventually showcase some of the things like the Razor Challenge and other tournaments that are being done by guys like Vex Gaming and the ones that the Parasite Post guys have done and things like that. Absolutely, once we actually get like spectator mode and things like that in game, we're going to find new and creative ways to help support and promote these events. So guys, please keep it up. Keep up the awesome community creation. We really appreciate it. And go sign up for Battle in the Bot Lane, guys. 2v2 tournament. It's something unconventional, something a little bit interesting. But like the banner says, it's time to duo up and get down.
Yeah. Get down, baby.
You're up all night for good fun. All right. Anyways, all right, guys. So, hey, that's our exciting announcement for today. We got another fun and exciting reveal. I'm going to go ahead and cut away from you, Twerp. Thank you very much for popping in, and
Goodbye.
We'll see you on Friday, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Bye bye. All righty. So, and I'm going to move this over here because we're going to need to look at this stuff over here in just a moment.
Yep.
So anyways,
now I've got to follow up on that.
You do have to follow up on that. That is true. Yeah.
True.
I did see a couple of people expressing some disappointment because I thought this was it'd be like a big gameplay announcement.
Right.
By the way, guys, I'm not gonna brush that under the rug right now. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna acknowledge that. We have seen the posts and the concerns within the community right now that we haven't had a whole lot of content recently outside of like Shaper releases and stuff.
System content.
Yeah, we just, basically kind of the regular stuff, right? What I would say is that we are working on some pretty important stuff internally. I think we've mentioned before I know we've mentioned before Itempalooza. That's a fairly major item rework that we're going through.
Right.
The map stuff, we are working very, very heads down on the map, trying to get that textured and arted up so we can get that out to you guys as soon as possible. And we are also working on some stuff with the perks and loadouts. Which is very, very exciting. We actually have recently had the chance to play with it internally. I know that Scott Town and Gasty are taking a whole lot of internal feedback, and then we're going to be getting that out to the players as soon as possible.
Right.
So, guys, this is...
As well as a lot of matchmaking upgrades as well.
A lot of matchmaking upgrades, actually. That's true, yeah. The MMR V2.0 or whatever we're calling it, that hopefully will be coming soon as well, in addition to some quality of life upgrades like auto requeue and things like that, too.
Right.
So what I would say is this, guys, is that we really appreciate you all being very patient and understanding as we work through these things that basically have kind of shown us the need to improve on during the beta, and also these things which are going to give you even more reasons to play Dawngate. It is super important for us to make these features and to make them right. At the same time, keep in mind that we are coming up on the holiday season, so we have a very strong philosophy and belief here at Waystone about quality of life, and this is something that permeates from the top down as far as our studio culture goes. Is that this game is not a sprint. We're not just like okay, rush, shove it out the door, and
everyone's dead.
And everyone's dead afterwards.
All the Waystone is dead on the side.
We are very, very adamant about the fact that this is a marathon. We want for Dawngate to have a long and healthy life, and part of that is for the team to have a long and healthy term with the game. So what I would say is, hey guys, bear with us. We're going to get there, and it will be sooner rather than later.
Right.
But we really thank you for sticking with it and being patient, and hopefully the new shapers that we have coming down the pipe in the next couple of months kind of get you excited, because I know at least this one especially gets me a little excited especially after reading that fiction yesterday. I don't know why. I really connected with it.
It's got a nice little bit to it, but I don't think people are seeing the true vitality quite yet.
The true nature of madness.
Right, exactly.
Madness. Anyways, I don't want to give away too much. So we have a new shaper to announce today. What did we have last? We had Salus last.
So Salus was last, and
Melee
before
Bruiser.
that was Zalgus, right?
Zalgus,
and then before
Vex.
that was Vex.
Yeah,
yes.
so we've had a range carry, we've had a
burst mage,
and
then Bruiser,
and then a bruiser, ability bruiser. So it's very interesting. You said burst mage. We've never really made that distinction like that. The
it's
segue
true.
there.
Yeah, good segue.
Isn't
so
it though?
Good.
We've never actually made that distinction before.
Right.
So why would we call it burst mage? Is there
So
something else we could be focusing on?
it's
with
something that we've mentioned a lot of times before. We'll talk about, like Amaranth and Zagos. They're like burst mages, right? They do like a full combo and it'll kill you real good. And while Fenmore on the other hand is kind of a sustained mage where he is like does damage over time, or he does very consistent damage over time. Doesn't really have like, he's got nukes, but he doesn't have a huge combo like Amaranth or Zagos does. So we kind of have a new mage a new mage archetype that we're kind of focusing on this one. Which should we show the concept first and then get into this, or should I just go ahead and say it and then we should talk about it? That's up to you.
You know what? Let's try it. Let's shake it up a little bit.
Okay.
Let's do a little bit different. We're going to show some concepts. So what we're going to show you guys is kind of some stuff from what we call early sketchbook stuff into a little bit of into the more fully realized, and then we'll end. Excuse me. We will end off showing you guys the final render.
Oh, okay. So we can go the other way.
Sound good?
Sounds good.
Yeah, let's do it a little bit differently this time. So here we go, guys. I'm going to go ahead and swap over
Right.
to this really quickly. So this is actually some early concept
Right.
stuff right here.
This is an incredibly early concept. So whenever you see a concept that comes, it is scanned from a sketchbook. That means that this was from like 2 years ago.
Okay.
So right after the pitch for the game, like really early on, this is like 10 people on the team, maybe well before I joined. There was a need for these, what do characters look like? EA executives would come up and be like, that sounds like a good game, but what do the characters look like? So Luke started drawing a lot of different concepts, and he, as you know, we're very inspired by like the Miyazaki art style. So he came up with this guy that you kind of see here, which
Oops, that doesn't work.
that doesn't work.
No, I was trying to. That was like it popped over to the Twitter instead. It didn't actually stick with it. Anyways, I'm sorry. Go ahead. So it came with this.
So he came up with this guy right here who is kind of this weird-looking magician, like literal magician, not an archetype mage, who looks like maybe you'd see him in like the background of a Miyazaki movie, like in Spirited Away. They'd do like the big pan, and you'd see this guy juggling knives or whatever.
Right, right.
So this was a really early concept that actually spawned one of the first vignettes that we had, which was these little story pieces that we had combined with fully rendered art. So if you want to pull over to the
vignette.
Yes.
This one right here.
So this is a really early piece of Dongate art. And this is the kind of thing that we would show, higher up people and say, like, this is, example of one of the characters in our game. And this was 2 years ago and is an early concept. And we actually went with this character for a long time and kind of, he was one of very early characters. So actually, it's funny, I'll call out Blue Muzzy here a little bit. If when Blue Muzzy was looking back at our original machinima.com like kind of announcer video, he said, there's two characters that I see on the back there that haven't been released yet. There's this mole man who turned out to be Salus, and then there's like this short guy with red cape or something in the other side. Who's that guy? It was this guy. So it was actually this image too. We actually had the older art up on there. And we brought this through the modeling period in the early days of Dongate, but we actually decided that we thought that the concept was too minimal and not as much detail and not as much characters we kind of have moved towards in our new characters. So we went on to this, which is the latest kind of sketch series that we did as we were remaking the character.
Well, he's definitely more ornate, I would say.
Yes,
and
more ornate, more detail, but still has
Yeah.
a lot of like the kind of iconic things that we had: the hair,
Yes.
the mask over the face. Something that Luke likes to do with characters like this is to give them no pupils, so
Yeah.
they have these white eyes, and it always implies this kind of like, it always disconnects you from the character as far as like a human. They're always kind of something different.
Right.
They're always a little unnerving, which is interesting.
Well, and it's actually really cool though too to see how this actual concept has evolved with how our game's art style has actually evolved.
Exactly.
I mean, if you look at examples, and granted, the lore for this particular shaper is that he's from a different part of the world. But if you look at examples, for example, like Zalgus or Reyna, where they have the very ornate kind of like Reyna has that ornate owl on her shield, and then woven into her armor.
Right.
It's just that very nice kind of the mask-like quality to the outfits that we have our shapers wearing,
Right.
which is no play on words. So we do have this right here, and then we moved on to.
And then we have the finished sketch. There was actually a period in between this where Kindra took the concept for a little bit and iterated on it several times. It actually got to something very, very cool that we decided to keep in our hand, and we kind of shuffle things around. You guys will see later. Sometime there we go, teases.
So,
But then Luke took the concept and drew this, which is the finished concept for, as you can see at the bottom, the King of Masks.
The King of Masks, that is correct. And without further ado, how about I show you guys
Go for it.
the finalized version of what you'll see in game, and this is the King of Masks right here, guys.
There he is. He's got an incredible cape, and look at those. Pat drew those nice tentacles.
The orange tentacles, I love those. Are great. And
so
you'll
good.
see there's actually do have a reason for being there as we get into the gameplay and show abilities and stuff like that.
Yep.
So a couple of interesting things, like you said, this is our first foray into introducing what we call a control mage archetype. And why did we see the need to fill that particular gap?
So it's interesting. It was not that we felt like there was a gap. We thought that there was an area to explore. So like Andy said, this is what we're considering a control mage. A control mage is outside the realms of a burst mage or sustain mage in a few different ways, but I think that it'll be the most widely varying among mages. So when it comes to burst mage, like it's almost required that they can, you're at 60% life and they perform a full combo on you, including their ultimate, and you die. That's like a requirement of that gameplay style.
Right.
If they don't do that, they're either behind or that character's failing at their role. The character, like a burst mage, like a control mage, like what we're trying to do with the King of Masks, has different aspects that make him powerful, but not as bursty as a burst mage. So things like crowd control, things like area denial, slipperiness, and what we can see in the future is kind of control mages, as we make more control mages, if we decide that's a successful archetype, is things like sieging or abilities that support the team without supporting individual characters. So you could think of it as in the vein of a support mage, but they're still going to be doing a ton of damage, just not instantly killing people like Amaranth might.
Nope. Sorry. They hear wonderful VO in the background as we get the game started up here, guys. So we are getting ready to show you all some gameplay, show you his abilities, and then so that'll be very fun.
So I can see people saying exactly what they think it is, which is support mage, and I want you to know that he is not a support mage. He will kill people big time. His focus is on crowd control and slipperiness and area denial, but if he gets a full combo off, including his ultimate, it's going to kill you big time. He can do it in slightly different ways than kind of Amaranth does, and relies less on a full combo than kind of cleverly using his abilities. But I would not classify him as a support mage. Although I want to make support mages, I think that we should keep the supports in the support category and the mages in the mage category.
Okay, totally understandable. So another interesting thing that you actually pointed out yesterday to me, and this is really cool, I think, actually, because it's showing how far we've actually come since the closed beta started. This is the final of the kind of the original 21, right?
Right. So there's this concept that we have internally, which is like kind of not facing you guys at all, is we had this original 21. So when we got close to closed beta, when we had the original 12, we had 21 characters that were in some form of development. The 12 were pretty much complete, and then up to 21, they'd have maybe they had a model, maybe they didn't, maybe they had effects, maybe they didn't, maybe they had animations, maybe they didn't. Some of them were just concepts, like Zalgus is actually the 21st character, and he was just a concept at that point in time. No model, no effects, no animations. And we took a break from the Shaper pipeline because we were working on finalizing the game. So a lot of conceptors working on finishing front-end things and making icons look good and touching up old art. The same thing with effects and animations. So we had this break where we weren't actively making shapers, but the design team was making kind of gameplay for shapers. So if you've watched the stream quite a bit, you know that we have boxmen who are like just marionettes that we can put in the game and test gameplay with. So we had a lot of characters that kind of had these neat gameplays but had no concepts. So once we started the Shaper pipeline back up, which was quite a few months ago now, we had these really neat new ideas that we're all really excited about. And it'll just feel like a perfect transition for you guys, but it's like this weird disconnect in my mind of like the original 21 and post 21.
Right.
So it's exciting for me to be the last of the 21 and such a delight as well. And then getting into the new wave.
It is really cool, especially with the new wave. You know, we're taking all the things we've learned for this first kind of part of closed beta here with these original 21 and just applying it to the new shapers that we're going to be designing. And I mean, having seen them internally, and I know I'm a huge tease right now, guys, but having seen them internally and seeing just some of the concepts and the ideas that we're putting together for this, it's a really exciting time for me, and
me
I
too.
really cannot wait for the next 6 months of Downgate. So
it's going to be really good.
Very, very fun stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to swap over to the gameplay cam. I'm going to swing over here and read you some questions from chat while you show off the King of Masks.
Sounds good.
And his abilities. So here we go, folks. Oh, crud. I forgot the F4 button.
Okay, we got to switch back. You got to stop doing that.
We got to... Okay, hold on. Sorry, guys. I always forget. Yeah, remake, please.
All right, there we go. It's a standard Dawngate broadcast.
Yeah, I'll let you. Yeah, standard. Yeah, Andy forgets to. You can't press F4 in the middle of a broadcast. That polish.
That polish.
That polish.
All right.
And all this work to set up all these shots ahead of time, and now it's like it's all ruined because I forgot to not press F4. So that's okay. So anyways, let's see here. What else would you like to say about the King of Masks? Like, where is he from? Like, give us a little bit of a lore background.
So I think we'll probably go into it more, but he's from Nishian, so the character, so that's the south in our game. We consider that the south.
Mm-hmm.
So he has relationships with both Renzo and Zeri, but he is not well respected in the Nishian community, unlike Renzo and Zeri, who are both kind of like, they're kind of pillars of the community.
Right.
Let's get on.
Well, hopefully the guys who are helping us out with displaying this can actually choose Renzo and Zeri, so we can hear a little bit of that delightful interaction. You guys hear that? Can you pick? Okay, cool, sweet, excellent. And we will switch over as soon as we get past these screens right here, which have super secret stuff on them.
It's true.
It is very true. So, and I'm pulling up my dashboard really quickly here. Whee!
All right, now I'm going to go tab over and game cam it.
Excellent. Don't forget, guys, you can ask your questions here in the chat. Also, so Sensei Gizzo, I do see what you're saying about sending a message to us here on Twitch. Generally speaking, we're not really responsive on Twitch simply because we get lots of messages. Best way to get in touch with us is to PM us either on the subreddit or to hit us up through our email, which is community@waystonegames.com. community@waystonegames.com.
So here he is, the King of Mass. I'll let you guys take a look at him.
Shall we show the dance and other fun stuff?
Of course.
Alrighty.
So first I'll do a little flirt, because I always like doing flirts first.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of the casting couch?
Oh my god.
So bad. Chris Latois.
Oh.
Get out of here. Let's do a taunt.
30 seconds until minions spawn. You belong in a zoo. They are illusions. Tricks are how an artist pays for school.
What? Wow.
And then I'll do a little dance. Oh,
Where's the dance?
I don't know. Did I not dance? There it is.
Rubes.
Minions have spawned.
And he'll flip these little things, which you'll see later.
What are these little things that he's juggling?
Those are evil skates. We'll get into that later.
Okay.
Alrighty, so let's go and meet our friends who presumably are at the Parasite Pit.
But of course they are.
There they are.
Lorenzo, my nemesis. We meet again. And today I smell of victory.
Renzo has no idea who you are.
So Renzo and Zeri completely don't like the King of Mass at all and just pretend like they don't know him.
Okay.
Okay, so the King of Mass, like I said, is a control mage. He's the first of that archetype, so I'll go through his abilities now. At first, he's a ranged caster, so he has the ranged basic attack. And look at this new delightful animation tech that we have, which is not present on any of our other characters. This nice, fluid, flowing animation tech, which will be pulling into a whole bunch of characters in the future.
That is really nice, actually. How do you feel like that's going to impact last hitting in the game?
So it doesn't impact last hitting at all. Like other abilities, if you walk, it'll immediately blend out, which is so if you're doing anything like orb blended out. But when you're doing sustained basic attacks or sustained against like things like the Guardian or the Bindings, you get this delightful flowing animation, which I really like.
The swoosh.
It's got a nice swoosh.
The swoosh is quite nice.
Yep. So his Q ability is called Captivate. He shoots a tentacle in target direction, which spawns 3 tentacles that attack the closest target, prioritizing shapers. If he hits a character with the initial projectile, that character is slowed and becomes the automatic target for the tentacles if available. So if I throw this near them like this, you'll see that they all focus on Zeri because she's the closer target. If there were a minion between the tentacles and Zeri, it would focus Zeri if they're within range of the secondary tentacle attack range.
Okay.
In addition to that, the tentacles grant vision. So if I throw them in a... Oh, let's get... So I can throw them into a bush, get vision, and then when they die, the vision will go away.
Oh, really nice. I didn't know that.
Yeah, this is kind of the kind of things that I'm talking about when I talk about control mage. Things that we can take a little bit of numbers off their burst and give them these other utilities, things like slows, but also things like vision.
Vinta Calvert is asking, why is he getting 20 Vim for a hit on the champion instead of 15 on the Shaper?
Wow, that is a good eye.
Whoops!
Whoops! Maybe some Gasty will make a post. Well, I thought that. And, some tuning may have changed with the roles coming soon.
It's okay. Not this week.
Not this week.
Not this week.
But
Not
soon,
this week, guys.
Soon, TM.
Yeah.
We got it. So that is the Q ability. There's one more part of that ability, which I'll get to in a second. And I'm going to skip the W for a second and go to the E, which is called Endless Delights. The King of Mass throws a pod to target location and makes mines on the ground. These are like horrible little egg sacs. Enemies who step on an egg sac will trigger an AoE explosion, dealing magical damage in that area. Enemies who take multiple hits of the mines will take reduced damage. That first hit is very large, but they won't get completely obliterated if they walk through all the mines at once. King of Mass can throw this pretty far, and additionally, just like the Q, it grants vision. So I can throw it in a bush, figure out if someone's there, trigger mines on them. The egg sacs last for 3 seconds, so I can use that if we're escaping, just kind of block off an area, force enemies to walk through it, take damage, and if I have something like control or inevitability, get slowed.
So these are kind of cool abilities. You can see the area denial that's going on in both of them, but
Right.
it doesn't seem like super control-y so far. So is there
Right.
something to that?
So, all right, good one. I like
Ah!
it. So, the King of Mass W ability is called Flourish. He dashes a short distance, and his next Q or E becomes empowered. So I'll let it fade out at this point. So I will flourish and use my Q. Hitting Zeri here has now rooted her instead of just slowing her. So, and additionally, because it attacks the target that it hit, it essentially gives her no chance to get out and not avoid the tentacle damage. If I use the E after flourishing, it will fear the targets that are hit. So this is an AoE fear, super, super powerful. The duration on the fear is less than the root, so you kind of need to decide: am I fighting a single target? Am I fighting two targets? Maybe if I'm fighting two or above, the fear is the right choice.
So this is the second fear we've added into game now, the first being on Freya's ult.
Right.
So this is actually going to be a much more consistent fear, though, if comboed correctly.
True.
Interesting.
Another thing is that Flourish, after King of Mass empowers one of his abilities, he may flourish again and dash again in a different direction, but he will not gain an empowered cast. An important thing to note here is that the King of Mass only gains an empowered cast if an enemy shaper sees him cast his Q or E while empowered. So this is kind of King of Mass master showmanship. So you'll see here, I dash Q and then dash away. If I'm over here, someplace that they can't see me, and I refresh my cooldowns, I W Q. I can no longer W again. I can't use this to just traverse the map super fast and waste my QE abilities. An enemy shaper must see it. It must fuel the King of Mass showmanship.
He needs an audience to perform.
He needs an audience. Right. It's exactly what it is.
That is actually a very cool and unique mechanic. I have never.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that in a MOBA before. So
in the same vein as control mage, which control this is an interesting aspect of control. This will trigger even if you don't see that enemy. So if I like W and I use my Q on a minion and suddenly I get the refresh and I don't see any around me, someone's in a bush, someone can see me. It is not vision that the team has, it is vision of an enemy shaper. An enemy shaper must be within vision radius to actually to trigger the recast. So if I'm just near their minions and I try to recast this, it won't work unless an enemy is hiding in a bush.
Yeah, Omega Demand says great mechanic, needs an icon.
He's an icon. Which icon? Oh, down at the bottom. If you
for the showman thing.
Oh, I see.
so that you know that you're in range of another shape or in vision of another
I
shape.
actually prefer that it's once you get the cast and then you get your kind of you get your audio sting and you get your effects and then you know whether you can cast it or not.
Fair enough. Good point.
Right. I wouldn't want you to use your W and just kind of have a continual a continual icon of whether or not they could see you.
Okay.
Okay. So his ultimate ability is called Finale, and it does this. So the King Mask throws his cage to target location. It slows all enemies nearby the cage while it's traveling, and when it gets there, it does a delayed AoE dragon and magical damage. So it'll pull all targets hit and crush them inwards. So this is a really, really good mage ultimate. This is it's particularly good when comboed with another character. It's got good range, but it's a little bit trickier than hit, say like an Amaranth ultimate or even a Zalgus ultimate. So combined with someone like Reyna, you can just set up like this easy 1-2 wombo combo and just kind of, you know, deal a lot of damage to the enemy.
The theory crafters are already going insane in chat, by the way.
I see.
Yeah, the wombo combos are already being called out. The Blue Muzzy, this was actually modeled, I believe, by Pat. Is that right? Or
That's true.
Yep.
So yeah, this ability actually existed a long time ago in the King of Masks because King of Masks has been through several ability revisions, and this was the one that always stuck around because we just loved the way it looked and we loved the way it felt. So he kind of has a different combo rhythm than another character. Like depending on it's all dependent on it's very reactionary. It feels to me like almost like high level Freya play where you need to decide between things like bursts, dashes, and stuns. Kind of deciding like who you want to get with your abilities, and which ability, which time, and flourishing which one is it's kind of like the mastery of the King of Masks.
Okay. So one thing you mentioned earlier is he's kind of like a magician, right? These things that he's throwing out there don't look very magical. They look more horrifying.
Right. So he's bonded with the spirit of madness, and he has this. I wish that. I want to see what we're going to do with him in the future as far as like prose is concerned, but he's got this kind of feeling that he is a good guy and everyone likes him, but it's really not the case. So he's kind of like, look at these incredible tricks, but it's like horrible nightmares spawned from his vitality, the madness vitality.
It's everybody loves me.
Right.
Nobody loves me.
Right.
So let's talk about roles. I mean, getting to the meat of things, obviously the role system is something that's very important in Dawngate.
Yep.
What kind of roles could this brand new support mage step into?
So I like to play him in Tactician personally, which is where I like to play a lot of mages. However, if I was going for a strong kill lane, especially if I was with another damage dealer or a burst mage, I would absolutely take Predator on him because he's obviously with his skill set, being able to lock people down for a certain amount of time, to lock down a Q and get a guaranteed R followed up by E and whoever else in your lane, like getting kills and assists is going to be pretty easy.
So let's talk about spell selection. Playing King of Masks, what are some spells that you personally would recommend? We probably don't want to show them in this build, just to be.
Oh, I almost did it.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was like, let's not do that.
So one of the things that I actually like, rarely do I take Blink on a character in Dawngate. I generally find that other spells are better, but I like to take Blink first on the King Mask, and I think that generally I might be the only one that does that, so you guys might want to not listen to me. The thing that I like about taking Blink on the King of Masks is that I can blink into someone's face immediately after flourishing. I can cover I keep wanting to do it. I can cover a lot of ground like that, and I can immediately get a root on a character and then and deal a lot of damage to them and allow my teammates to follow up.
Okay.
There's something else that should be noted that because the R activates only when it's reached its final destination, casting an R at your feet will actually cause the cage to erupt much, much, much faster. So you can see here if I throw my R max distance, you know, a reasonable amount of time before the mouth comes up. But if I throw it right at my feet, it's very,
immediate.
very quick.
Oh, that's
so if
interesting.
someone is very close to me, or if I can get close to them, if I can flourish in, you know, and then flourish out, I can actually deal my damage a lot faster. One note I forgot to mention about the Q is that it is not a max range skill shot. It can cast anywhere between 0 and max range. So you'll see that if I click on it, I can actually cast that to wherever I want it to go. if I know enemies are engaging on me and I want to just get the tentacles down as fast as possible, I can just throw them right next to me, and then they will lash out and deal damage.
Do the tentacles themselves prioritize shapers, or do they hit either creep or shapers?
They prioritize the closest shaper, but always the target hit. So if I throw my Q out and actually hit a minion and I miss a shaper, they'll all attack that minion because that's my primary target.
Okay.
So let's see what we were talking about. We're talking about spells.
We're talking about spells. So you said blink
so
first.
I like blink first, but that's because I like to be aggressive with that aggressive root and the aggressive ultimate. But I could see additionally, mage standards, things like dispel. As I go on, because if you guys know me, I love playing support roles. I actually play him with things like Tailwind and Deflect.
Mm-hmm.
I play him always in conjunction with a burst mage, and then I like to support my entire team by things like roots, fears, his ultimate, buying items like duress or other haste items to let me root more often, or bring things like inevitability and control into the game to slow enemies.
Okay. Let's talk about playing against the King of Masks. Are there any particular spells that you would recommend to kind of mitigate some of his control?
So I would just, what you want to do on fighting against King Master is just close on him. So I would say things like Stagger. That's really what you want to take. Stagger, things like Dispel to get out of his roots, things like Blitz to completely ignore all his CC, which is obviously very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
As well as things like Tailwind if your entire team needs to catch up, or you're Cerulean and you need to get onto him and before he flourishes away.
Mm-hmm.
Getting a Tailwind to close is very effective.
Okay. We've seen a question pop up more than a couple times in the chat. Does his W cover gaps?
It does not. Boom.
Boom.
Goes straight into the wall.
Straight into the wall. All right, guys. There you go. So he's not a gap.
Yeah,
crosser.
he is not high mobility. He's just got a little dash. It's like McKellar's.
Yeah. Well, it's a double dash, though. I mean,
It is a
in
double
the right
dash. In the right
nice.
circumstance, it's very nice.
Yeah,
Yes.
it is very nice. So, all right. Let's go into the next logical step. Let's talk about itemization for him.
Okay.
So, what do we have as far as recommended items, and then do you have any developer tips or tricks that you usually use when playing him?
So like I said, he can be built a few different ways because of the nature of being a control mage. So on here we have Destruction, which is always a good mage item. Things like Chaos are good. He does a lot of ability damage with his Q, E, and R, so getting any mastery and the Chain Lightning is good. You can proc it from really far away with his Q or his E. Same thing goes with Decay. Being able to get those procs, the Q does not count as AoE or damage over time style damage. It is single target damage. So if you get this on there, you're going to get a good Spirit Burn. Rage is good if you're looking for a pure offensive item, if they're building lots of MR against you, or if you have a lot of mages on your team, they're building a lot of MR. And then I like to take Duress as well. Getting a lot of haste on him is really good because his abilities have a lot of points that don't scale with power. Things like the root duration and the fear duration are just static per rank of the ability. So if you decide, you can go down this route of more supporty King of Mass. You can build lots of haste and just be rooting people and fearing people all the time, as well as being really slippery, being able to dash more often.
Okay.
And then we kind of have oppression and adamants, which are your power and then either magic resist or armor items, depending on what you're coming up against. So I would get these less often on a pure mage, but things like oppression is really good because he can get in close and use those abilities. Use his abilities very close, and he'll be reducing enemy magic resist. And then adamants, if you're really getting beat up by a Freya, Moya, anyone with a heavy, fast attacking physical damage, and you need an extra few seconds of survivability, adamants is a good pick.
Okay. Speaking of itemization, IOR is asking, do the tentacles proc on hit effects?
They do. They do not proc anything that is considered a basic, like Conquest, but they do proc on damage effects, like all of our damage.
Okay. So let's say you are playing against a really fed king. What kind of items would you suggest that help to kind of mitigate some of his effectiveness?
So his E and R both do very significant AoE damage. So thinking of something like a Unity would probably be a pretty good bet if you're gonna be a support character. What's really important is not letting the king engage on you. So it's less about itemization. Build MR. If you're getting beat up by a king, build MR.
Mm-hmm. So things like a faith, motion,
faith,
stuff
motion, yeah, exactly.
Yep.
But what's really important is to not let his team engage on you. We had a game yesterday that we were playing internally, and it was we were getting to a standoff point at the Guardian, and we were starting to come back as the losing team, and they just got an incredible King of Mass ult on us that got all four of us, and at this point his King of Mass was incredibly fed. It probably did 50% of everyone's life in that entire group, and then they just wiped us up easily.
Right.
The ult has really good engagement potential when combined with another ultimate or with just a strong engage. So don't let the King of Mass engage on you. Make sure that he needs to use his ult defensively, not offensively. Otherwise, you're just going to get destroyed.
So speaking of combining his ultimate with another ultimate or things like that, like let's talk about lane partners, like synergy as far as like effective lane compositions with King of Masks.
So
what would you say?
So this is actually an interesting point, and this is something I wanted to talk about with the community in general, since we have a lot of like really hardcore like theory crafters and players in the chat always for this. The King of Mass absolutely can replace the mage slot on your team. He's a control mage, but he does good damage, and he's got good bursts and all those things. So if you were going to play the game and you say, well, I don't want to play Amaranth, I'll play King of Mass. Totally reasonable. We do that all the time. Where I would like to see people experiment with lane partners and compositions is because he's a control mage, trying to do slightly unorthodox combos. So things like where generally I might have like a Zeri or a Dibs and a Amaranth, right? That's a good combo, a support and a mage. Trying to have King of Mass fill that support role as kind of like a CC machine in addition to the burst that comes from having a mage with you. So I like to combo people like that, like Zalgus or like Amaranth. But additionally, just trying to have the King of Mass fulfill that support role in general. If you go down the path that I like to build, which is lots of haste, a lot of supporty spells, and kind of being this offensive support who brings more damage to the table, obviously, than Dibs or Zeri, but also all this utility that they kind of bring.
It seems to me like a composition, like for example, like a Renzo King lane comp would just be beastly.
Renzo King's pretty good because it lets him set up, but I mean, like they both kind of, it would be a CC chain, which is really, really powerful.
Right.
It lets them both get all their abilities off kind of like in sequence, which is super, super powerful. So I like that. Even things like Reyna and the King is really good. Just that ult synergy is so killer. If you get up on your up on the enemies just a little bit and you get to 6 faster than they are, if they're anywhere below 50%, it's basically double kill, free double kill, right? Super, super good.
Yeah, Milzeal's bringing up a good combination here. Zalgus plus King team fight. Like if you're running like a really strong kill lane, like a double Predator, Predator, Zalgus King would be pretty effective as long as you're both very competent players, I would say.
The thing that I like about the King especially is that he makes a really formidable opponent to engage into. So if you're chasing an enemy team that has the King, if you're engaging them or chasing them, it's going to be really, really difficult because you can continually kind of dash backwards while throwing these things out that are denying your advance. So putting him with a character like Zalgus is actually a really good idea because Zalgus doesn't have many escapes. He relies on a skill shot or a long cooldown on his W, basic attack proc. So having the King to kind of act as a peeler or a bodyguard in the mage form is really, really potent.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, guys, we got time for some questions here. So are you ready to take some questions about the King?
Let's do it.
All right, guys, so if you want to ask a question, put a Q with a colon mark after it and ask away. This is your chance to ask all the questions about the King of Masks before he is playable in the next patch, which may or may not be this week. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Showing that full rotation there?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Gotta do it.
All righty. So Zinc, no, we already did cover that. He cannot W over walls.
Right.
Gamer Craze 1997. I would go back and watch the VOD, but we basically have gone over all of his abilities in detail. So the VOD will be posted on YouTube later on, for sure. Skyfire Dragoon, can I be the king?
Of course you can be the king.
You can be the king. So Blue Muzzy actually, so focusing on his mobility, is he able to cast an ability while dashing?
Yes, he can. Good question, Blue Muzzy. So if I am dashing, and this has to be done really fast because dash is really fast. Let's see if I can do it. So it will not even pause me for my animation while dashing. So I can just cast and dash and move. That is difficult to do. There we go. And then I can dash again. Well, I can't because no one saw me.
Pizza Boy 76, can you play him as ADC? So in Dawngate, the concept of playing a mage archetype as ADC doesn't really work, simply because of how the power system works. So obviously power on King of Masks is going to contribute to magic damage for him, correct?
Right, it will contribute to his ability damage more than it will his basic attacks. Of course, with all mages and supports in the game, they deal full power damage against bindings, but they won't have the attack speed to back it up.
Okay.
So they'll do good damage against bindings, but slowly.
Do you think this could be a good shaper to start a new meta of a duo mage lane? So first off, I would say Rocky D2, it's not really It's not a new meta. Like there have been very successful
Absolutely.
Amaranth Zalgus combinations.
But I think that he lends to it slightly better than what we've had in the past.
I agree
So
with that.
I think it's absolutely a good time to try.
Yep, for sure thing, for sure thing. Zinc is if you use your W into sight of enemies, will you be able to dash again? Or if you dash away from the enemy site, can you dash again?
So the only thing that matters is actually when you cast the empowered Q or E. The W cast is not what procs the sight. So I can get out of sight of them probably, and then I dash in. When I cast my Q here, you'll see this little hit effect on me. That means that I can dash again. So when I cast the flourished Q or E, that's when it checks to see if there's enemies within range.
Okay. Let's see here. I think it was Mars. Yeah, Mars asked, does the E have max damage to a single shape or cap?
No, does not. But it does have significant drop-off per target extra hit. So getting one hit is pretty good, and getting a lot of extra hits is like icing.
Yeah, Cimaril, I answered that question earlier. This is the guy that I teased would make a good luchador skin for. So if
There
we
he
ever
is.
decide to do it. Yeah, I could totally see a luchador skin on that guy. That's just me, though. Let's see here. Is there an arm time before they can trigger? I
Yes,
think it means the
but
E.
it is very, very, very tiny.
Yeah,
so
it's-
it's nearly instant.
Yeah.
When you throw the initial hit, it'll spawn a mine and then spawn an egg, and then it'll little ones will kind of pop out from that. That is essentially the arm time of the ability.
So as a control mage, is it good to take items that makes the abilities slow? So something like an inevitability or
Yes.
something along those lines.
So I personally love an inevitability. Just to kind of remind everyone, a control mage absolutely can build full damage and do really good burst, but they have enough things on their kit that buying things, they won't be useful if they don't do that. They won't be useless if they don't buy that burst. So things like control and inevitability, I almost always get on King MS.
By the way, everybody thinks that the king evidently looks like me, and they're saying his real name is Will.
I think there he is.
So
They're saying that you have this mask and also you have white soulless
I have
eyes.
white soulless eyes. Well, you know what it is. They see a chubby Asian, and they're just like, "Hey, it looks like me." Anyways, king of me. The eggs count as an AOE, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
If someone is nearby when another person touches it, they will take damage.
Okay. Blue Muzzy. So we've been in cheat mode. What is the cooldown on each of the abilities?
So at max rank, I have a little bit of haste going on. At max rank, it is 8 seconds, 10 seconds, 8 seconds, and 90 seconds for his 4 abilities.
Okay. Oh, by the way, guys, so we did send all of this information over to the fine folks at Shapers Guild, Dawn Source, MOBA Champion, and another one. I sent a lot of emails last night. I think Parasite Post, maybe? I can't remember. So we sent all this information out to the different fan sites, guys, so they should all have the numbers and everything up at their earliest convenience, so you guys can start theory crafting almost immediately on this stuff. So, and that's something we're going to be doing on a consistent basis, just kind of sending that information out for these guys so that they can get the tools that they've built for the community into your hands as soon as possible. Let's see here. Zinc is asking, does this Q work with Life Drain?
Yeah,
So-
absolutely. So all life chain affects both basic attacks and magical and ability damage in the game.
Okay. Diamond Scale, and I've seen a couple of other people ask about the King in the Jungle.
The King in the Jungle. The King in the Jungle I would probably not recommend. The AoE damage on the E probably has decent clear times, but I have a feeling that his low base armor and low health being a mage would not be the best. I would try it, but I think that you would probably do better in the lane where you have more people to CC.
I think that this is an obvious challenge for Scott, the king of I play everything in jungle more. So
Yeah, that's true.
We're gonna lay it down.
Yep.
King in the jungle. It's gonna happen. I'm sure. We'll get him to do it on stream. That'd be amazing. What was that about the evil skates earlier?
Oh, yeah, I guess I glossed over a detail on the effects. So when you cast your Flourished E, like I said, when people walk over the eggs, they will get feared. The detail on that is... Oh, let me unlock my camera. The eggs actually have these horrible skates that live in them for the duration of the fear window. So you'll see that... Oh, let me use it on these guys. Skates will actually shoot out of there, these little horrible things that are inside the eggs, for the fear effect. So we actually have that skate as a model, and then he can juggle it.
I'm gonna ask, what exactly is fearful about fish?
They are not your average skate. If you look at the model real closely, I wish I could pause the game,
Right.
but they have these horrible sucky mouths, which you
I
can
see them,
kind
yeah.
of see right there, and they're scary.
They're like
So-
they're like evil like.
They're evil manta rays.
Manta
You know,
rays,
they're
gotcha.
like not
Okay.
not cute manta rays.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. Facehugger things OP. New alien part confirmed. Excellent. Let's see here. Any other questions popping up there?
I saw Icy Pan. He said, "Is that a 1.2 ratio on the Q?" Yes, if all three things hit you at 1.2 ratio. Very
1.2.
pretty powerful.
Okay, so he can. I mean, he can get pretty bursty. Like I've seen, like
He
you said yesterday. You
Absolutely can.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
know, if he gets off his full like WEQR combo thingy wombo combo, it's pretty devastating, and it can be to the entire team if you don't spread out when he's firing up his laser.
Mm-hmm. So someone asked, how long is the duration for the W ability before you must use it? It's 4 seconds.
Mhm.
If you wait all 4 seconds, it'll fizzle and it'll go on cooldown.
Saxao, I see an Akatsuki.
Akatsuki.
Okay.
That would be cool.
right.
Give him that Akatsuki black clouds and stuff on the background. That would be very nice.
Yeah, that cape, by the way. There's been a couple of comments already in the chat. That cape is gorgeous.
Yeah, it's super nice, and it's got really nice motion on it.
Yep. I think Pat did an amazing. Pat and who animated?
Zach did.
Was
this
it
one.
Zach?
Yep.
Okay, so Pat and Zach did an outstanding job, and of course some of the effects obviously are wonderful as well. They're quite delightful.
Yep.
Effects done by by Kyoshi? or-
Chris, and we actually had a assist from Kyoshi.
Okay, awesome. So lots team effort getting this done. I mean, again, this is a shaper that's spent a long time in development, so I think we're all very happy to see him.
Yep.
See him get out the door. So, all right. What is most gorgeous, Andy or the? Okay, Bear Force. Thanks, man. What is that burst basic attack you're doing? Is it a passive?
I think it's just my basic attack. So this is it.
It's not really a burst. It just looks like that with the kind of the balls.
Right.
Yeah. All right, outstanding. Well, Dibs, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. We really appreciate it.
No problem.
I'm going to go ahead and swap over to the other camera.
Alrighty.
King of Masks will be playable in the next
Oh, we
patch.
should kill him actually.
We should kill him? Oh,
Yeah.
yes, we need to kill him.
Let's kill them.
Have been slain.
His mask on.
Your team has been annihilated.
There we go.
Nice. All right, how do you come back to life?
Control G.
Control G.
God mode.
All right.
Alrighty. Cool.
And then...
Oh, you want me to kill those guys?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
Let's kill them.
Oh no, not enough burst. Too tanky.
An enemy binding.
All right, that's it.
Okay. All right. We have to leave something for you guys to discover. I'm guessing, of course, that there are going to be some... all right.
All right, enough shenanigans.
Shenanigans, I tell you, shenanigans. I'm guessing that there are going to end up being some. There are going to be some interesting Easter eggs and banter and
Yep,
things like that.
there's a
going
lot of
back
good
and
banter for him. I like it.
Yes, I'm still like in awe of the things that Chris manages to work into the game. So, folks, hopefully you all enjoyed our reveal of King of the Masks and our announcement. King of Masks, and our announcement about Battle on the Bot Lane. Make sure you guys, if you want to compete in the Battle on the Bot Lane, go and sign up for it. It's going to be happening this Friday. What time, Randy? Starts at 5 Pacific, I think, something like that.
5:30 Pacific.
5:30 Pacific. Yeah. Okay, so 5:30 Pacific.
Oh, maybe you said 5.
I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
Is it 5:30? 8:30
Okay, yeah.
Eastern, so 5:30 Pacific. So that's going to be starting at 5:30 Pacific. It's going to be hosted right here on this channel. The show is still going to be run by Best Tips NA Antwerp, and then we'll have every event we'll have a guest color commentator from Waystone Games. So it's been a lot of fun. Really excited for you guys to get your hands on King of the Masks, and we will see you guys. In beta tomorrow. We do open our servers at 9 a.m. and they run until Sunday at midnight as per our most recent schedule. Really looking forward to when we're going to be able to expand those, but not quite yet, folks.
Soon.
Quite soon. TM.
Right.
Anyways, we will be live for our normal beta live stream at about noon tomorrow. So be sure to tune in from noon till 6 PST. But until then, we'll see you guys later. Bye bye.
See you.
Wait.